This is Concacaf Video Signals, a Thursday, February 12th edition. Today on Video Signals, we'll examine last night's World Cup qualifying action. We'll take a tour around the Confederation and end our trip with the Concacaf quiz. We open with World Cup qualifying for South Africa 2010. In an evening of excitement and high drama, the United States made it 3 times in a row, once again beating Mexico in Columbus, Ohio. Costa Rica made it look all too easy in a 2-0 home win over Honduras in San Jose, while Trinidad and Tobago lost a chance to win away, squandering a 2-goal lead and settling for a tie against El Salvador. It wasn't cold or snowy, but it was wet and windy, and those conditions suited the home team just fine as the United States continued its dominance over Mexico with a 2-0 victory. Michael Bradley, son of U.S. head coach Bob, scored in each half to lift his team to another 2-0 win over Mexico in Columbus, Ohio, the third consecutive time the U.S. has defeated Mexico in a World Cup qualifier at Columbus Crew Stadium. The victory extends the Americans' unbeaten streak at home against El Tri with its 9th victory in 11 games since 1999. It also extended the USA's unbeaten streak against CONCACAF opponents at home to 51 matches, including 41 victories and 14 games in World Cup qualifiers. Mexico captain Rafael Marquez was shown a straight red card in the 65th minute for crashing into U.S. goalkeeper Tim Howard as they both approached a high ball. Mexico have picked up just 1 point from their last 4 qualifiers. A look at the chart shows that the U.S. has 4 wins and a tie in its last 5 home World Cup qualifying matches against Mexico. Remarkably, the Americans have scored 2 goals in each of those games, while Mexico has only 3 in total over that stretch. At the Estadio Ricardo Saprissa in San Jose, Andy Furtado scored 2 second-half goals to power Costa Rica past Honduras 2-0 and grab a share atop the leaderboard with the U.S. in CONCACAF's final round of World Cup qualifying. Costa Rica also remains as CONCACAF's only undefeated team in qualifying and is still yet to allow a goal at home. The winner came 4 minutes into the second half from a set piece after a foul by Honduras' Emil Martinez. Furtado met Walter Centeno's free kick with a hard downward header that bounced between the legs of Honduras goalkeeper Noel Valladares. Furtado, who had 3 goals in the recently completed Concacaf Nations Cup, scored his second goal of the match in the 59th minute. The loss was Honduras' first in a World Cup qualifier at Costa Rica since January 14, 1961. A look at the graphics shows that Honduras' dominance at Costa Rica in qualifying came to an end last night. Osael Romero scored twice in the final 11 minutes to rally El Salvador to a 2-2 draw with Trinidad and Tobago. Romero scored in the 79th minute and in second-half injury time to save the home side. Trinidad took an early lead in the 7th minute through Carlos Edwards. 20 minutes later, Dwight York added a penalty to seemingly put the visitors in a comfortable position. Romero also scored for El Salvador in last Friday's friendly win over Peru. El Salvador opened its World Cup campaign with 4 impressive home victories, but has lost to Costa Rica and tied Trinidad in its last 2 at the Estadio Cuscatlan, though last night's recovery should be a confidence booster. Costa Rica and the U.S. sit atop the standings after 1 match. Match Day 2 will take place on March 28th, when El Salvador hosts the U.S., Mexico welcomes Costa Rica, and Honduras visits Trinidad. Please watch Video Signals for World Cup updates and news. Now, let's go around the Confederation. In international friendly action last night, Jamaica tied Nigeria 0-0 in an entertaining match at the chilly New Den Stadium in London, England. Portmore United goalkeeper Sean Sawyers was outstanding for Jamaica. The match was Jamaica's first since winning the Caribbean Championship in December and qualifying for the CONCACAF Gold Cup. According to FIFA records, Jamaica now has a win and 3 ties in 6 matches against Nigeria. Guatemala lost 2-1 away to Venezuela in Maturin. Dwight Pesarozzi scored in the 49th minute for the Guatemalans. According to FIFA records, Guatemala has 2 wins and 3 losses in 5 all-time matches against the Venezuelans. CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinalists, the Puerto Rico Islanders, are holding a training camp in Florida. They have played 2 matches thus far, losing 1-0 to the Chicago Fire on February 7th and playing the New York Red Bulls to a scoreless draw on Monday, a game in which goalkeeper Bill Gaudette stood out. The Islanders face the Columbus Crew today in Bradenton, Florida. The Montreal Impact played the last game of their Italian training camp today against the Italian 4th Division side AC Prato. The Impact have 2 wins and 2 draws in 4 matches in Italy. and return home to Montreal to face Santos in the Concacaf Champions League quarterfinals. And that is all for our trip around Concacaf. It is time for today's Concacaf quiz. Yesterday, we asked you to predict the results of last night's Concacaf World Cup qualifiers. Our thanks to everyone who participated. The USA and Costa Rica won their games, while El Salvador and Trinidad played to a draw. On match day 2 of Concacaf World Cup qualifying, Costa Rica would travel to Mexico. On June 16, 2001, the Ticos had an historic 2-1 win at the Azteca in a qualifier for the 2002 World Cup. Can you name the players that scored for Costa Rica in that game? If you think you know the answer, please send an email to VideoSignals@concacaf.org before 12 p.m. New York time tomorrow. Those who answer the question correctly will have their names placed into a weekly contest where the winner will receive a CONCACAF prize. That's all for today. Our thanks to you for joining us, and please keep emailing us with your questions, answers, and comments. This has been CONCACAF Video Signals, your source for CONCACAF news.